Are you concerned about all this corruption being misgendered as conspiracies? Well, don't you worry. Sit back, relax, and join in the conversation as we talk with today's guest. Welcome to another LSB Film Productions podcast with your host, Chris Brooks.
Hello and welcome to the channel. It's me, Chris Brooks, for another LSB Film podcast. Today I've got two rather special guests. We've got Steve James. Now, Steve James is a fellow filmmaker like myself, but I imagine he's on a much higher level than I am. And he's basically created this documentary called An Ode to the New World Order. And we also have the marvellous Daz from the Daz Band, who is featured heavily in this documentary. And you may know his music, such as You Can Stick the New World Order Up Your Arse, which done quite well during the COVID era. So I'm here to talk to these guys about the work that they're doing, and yeah, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much
for having us on.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So let's get to how this all started, how this all came about.
I actually met. Here's the thing. You kind of just intimated that Steve's, very high up, experienced, advanced documentary filmmaker. I met Steve 10, 11 years ago at Barton-Moss anti-fracking camp. And since then we've obviously been in touch and what have you, but obviously when COVID break became obviously very, very close workmates, obviously it's all volunteers, but you know what I'm saying, we're very, very close together. He and obviously I've got obviously run the light paper, which most people know, and obviously we've got the Daz Band, so we were going on tour and Steve said to me, can I come and film you? I said, yeah, sure, why not? It's great for a band to have shots and all the rest. He followed the band around on the tour dates last year, and he was like, I'm gonna put the documentary, I'm gonna put it all together, go through all the footage and all the rest of it. And obviously over that time it dawned on Steve, because the band is not. It's not a normal rock and roll band. Obviously, we're never going to make it anywhere near any of the mainstream, what have you. And we're not interested in that.
You have to sell your soul for that.
All the lyrics. Well, that's the whole point. The whole band, the lyrics, everything that I'm about speaks about the situation. It speaks about the truth. It speaks about And yes, We Are the 99% does that in a really catchy way. And there's a lot to the band than that. But also, just same as that, just there's a lot more to the documentary than that as well. Steve, I remember when I met him, he was a fireman. This is really his first full length documentary film, and you can tell he's got a serious talent for it, which is why you were kind of kidded, I suppose, that he's been doing it for a number of years. But yeah, he's got serious talent, and obviously, let's say at the outset, everybody should go and watch An Ode to the New World Order. It's fantastic, you'll love it.
Brilliant. I will leave the link in the video description to that documentary so people can indeed go and watch it. So let's talk to you then, Steve. How did you first of all, how did you come into the filmmaking?
Well, as Darren said, I was a firefighter, and I lost my career through refusing to wear a face mask driving the fire engines. So yeah, I made a little bit of a stand there, and then ended up without a career and not a lot to do. And that was right at the beginning of the COVID era, and I basically started with a mobile phone, videoing the protests, videoing people on the side of the road or on roundabouts, holding the yellow boards up, and I just started to turn it into a story and added music to it. And people started to like it, and I set up a YouTube channel, which is called Edge of the Matrix, which is what the documentary is on. And I started to go to the London protests, the Manchester protests. I mean, during that era, it was full on, wasn't it? And people wanted to know what was going on, and I wanted to promote what was going on because it gains an exponentially wider audience. So I bought a little bit of kind of like a little selfie camera rather than using my phone. So I stepped up my game a little bit, started putting a story of the day rather than just showing people walking with the signs. I started to turn it into a story, added music to it, and I started interviewing people. And people liked it, and people I gained more and more viewers on the YouTube channel. And then just to as a slight interjection there, Darren rung me one day and said, Steve, I know you do a lot of filming. I'm going to do an interview with Mariana Spring from the BBC. She's been nagging me and sending me emails. Can you come and be my cameraman? And I said, yeah, no problem. But all I had was a mobile phone and a little selfie camera, and I'm going up against the BBC. So I invested in a little bit more appropriate technical equipment where I wouldn't look so much out of place, but it upped the production value a little bit. And we did that interview. Darren did the interview. I went along and filmed it, and we did a really good job of presenting the full story, and it looked good and it sounded good. And I had all this kit, and I'd been doing these little videos of all these protests, and I thought, I could maybe up my game a little bit. And then when Darren told me that the band, the Daz Band, were going on a tour and they were promoting their first album, I said, is anybody going to document this for you? And he said, well, I've not really thought about it. And I said, well, can I come and follow you on a tour and do a documentary? And Darren said, yeah, I'll just have a word with the guys in the band if that's okay. And of course they were happy with that. So that's when it started, basically.
That's awesome.
And I wanted to make it from my experience making the videos of the protests, a day long or a weekend long protest. I knew I had to tell, not just show it, here's one gig, here's another gig. I needed to tell a story, and I needed a backstory as well. And I'd had no formal film training whatsoever, but it was more of a passion. And basically, I suppose the rest is history, isn't it now?
That's good. And now that interview, is that the interview that you done in what looked like a pub? Because I think that's right. So yeah, I have seen that interview. It was a while back now, so don't ask me any questions on it. But no, I do remember seeing it.
I was going to say it was in Leek in Staffordshire, and Mariana described it, a typical BBC, it's just south of Manchester.
Oh,
what did she say? This is Darren's home turf.
Finally, we've tracked him down.
Finally, I found him.
Because I have to say, the light paper is doing extraordinarily well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been. I mean, I've said it for the over 4 years that we've done it now. It's a testament to how brilliantly people can work together with no other, common goal than let's get the truth out offline.
Absolutely.
When it all came together, I'm obviously no experience in publishing. At the time, it still doesn't feel like I've got that much experience, but we're obviously getting it right. And it's still growing in popularity. New people coming on board all the time. It's just such a great tool to use for any time you're talking to people. You can leave, you can leave it in places, etc. And obviously, it's a professional looking.
Well, this is it. I was going to say, like, the articles are very well written. That it does have that proper paper feel to it in all ways. We're often handing them out at our Thetford Town Council meeting. Mark Taylor, he's always going to take some copies, go and distribute them. So it's very well known in our circle of groups. So that is really good work, and I have to commend you on that, because it's so important to get the truth out when so many places, especially YouTube, try their hardest to censor. So, any way that we can get the information out is fantastic. And the fact that you do it in music as well, which is a fantastic medium to get this stuff out. And you get more people listening to it because it's such a broader range of telling the story of what's going on. So hats off. Yeah, that's right.
Of course. Funnily enough, when after the Barton Moss protest, or just while they were on, but we started a thing called Wake Up Manchester, which was held like once a month on a Saturday afternoon, on a Saturday morning, morning afternoon, right in the middle of Manchester, right on Market Street. We'd have a PA, so there'd be speakers and musicians. It became a thing. It was really fun to do. But anytime I got up and played that song, the whole of Market Street stopped. Showing the absolute power of music. The rulers know very well how what an amazing art music is to get in there. Where it's melodic, rhythmic, what have you. They
frequency as well, frequency based, up in that
you
frequency.
You
No, it's
betcha.
awesome.
Honestly, I had no plans for to I don't think anybody that's awake and is obviously has had their life changed immeasurably over the last few years. We're not in any position that we plan to be in, but we're all thriving on it, which is wonderful. And what I want to say is, paper, which is a passion. So I get to disseminate truth to a million people across the country every month, and I also get to be in a great truth rock and roll band. But rather than saying, "Hey, good for me," I want that to inspire everybody else out there, and I want Steve's story to inspire. Not everybody's a songwriter or a musician, or what have you, but you can see the guitar and the keyboard. I mean, thing is, there's an old African proverb. I'm going on and on with myself now, but there's an old African proverb that says, "If you can walk, you can dance. If you can talk, you can sing." And we're all musicians, really. So everyone's got just a little bit of talent, like singing in the shower. It's part of it. It's a part of being human. But what I want to say to people is, develop what is in your heart to do and bring it to the truth movement, because we need it all. We need farmers, and we need actors, and we need, you name it. We need the whole world. Everything that they do in the corrupt world is we need it in the same normal world that we inhabit.
No, absolutely. No, 100%. And creativity, creativity is such a powerful tool, and everyone, like you say, is capable of it on some level. And so utilize that. For Steve, it's behind the camera. Me, it's waffling on a load of old bollocks that people listen to. Don't know why. And then with you, it's your music talents. So yeah, it really is a strong way of getting people together and getting a message out there and uniting people. It really is a good thing. Now, I understand you're off on a tour.
Me?
Someone's...
with the light paper.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't finalised anything yet. It's been organised, over the next couple of months. But yes, we'll come to Thetford if you like.
That would be
We'll
great.
come and say hello. Or I mean, the idea of it'll be like an outreach tour, and we'll do 2-3 days in each region. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll go to the major cities, but wherever people are, wherever people want us, we'll come and say hi. And obviously, you can ask us all the questions you like, and most people will then figure out, I can write for the light paper. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. I have actually done an article for your paper.
You have. Yes, you have.
Which was quite fun, because in February, the end of February this year, you've heard of the Great Resist. They're coming to Thetford at the Carnegie, so I weren't sure whether or not that was something that whether you were going to that, because that would have been a fantastic. And I can have a word with the organisers if that's something that would interest you.
Well, February's we're actually we're working on the second album. I say working on it, it's recorded. It's being mixed and perfected so that we've got 11 new songs of just awesome truth rock and roll about all sorts. People are going to really like the music. What you hear on the documentary obviously is captured on Steve's got some great equipment, but it's not gone through the desk or what have you. You're not going to hear crystal clear sound, but you are going to get the energy, and the lyrics are on the screen as well. When you hear the record, we're really confident that they're absolutely go mad for it. So that is the focus right now. Obviously, the light paper every month, get that done, and then it's onto the album launch because, and again, it's not about hey we want people know who I am anyway. I don't really care, but it really is about energizing people and giving them a lift and showing them quality from the truth movement. That's why I love the documentary that Steve's made. You know what I mean? I don't block smoke up people's arse. If it's not that good, it's not that good, but it's really good. You know what I mean? It's inspiring to others all the time. You know what I mean? You see, art does inspire. So,
no, that's great. I look forward to listening to some of this. It's that's perked my eardrums up because obviously being a fellow musician, it's very up my street.
Can I just interject a little bit there, Chris? Yeah, I mean, Darren talks about the music and it being really pumping and high energy as well, but they're really meaningful lyrics. And I wanted to get this across in the documentary. So rather than just play a selection of the songs and let people listen to it, I took the time to type in all the lyrics as subtitles when they were singing as well. And there's so many people that have come up to me after they've watched the documentary and said, God, I knew that song, but I didn't really analyze the lyrics so much. And I don't know if Daz knows this. I've even had a couple of your band members come up to me and said, I didn't realize what he was singing about there.
Oh, it's like those videos, misheard lyrics. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a very good idea. Very time consuming as well.
Do you know what? I took the idea from when I watched, I think the first ever Amy Winehouse documentary that came out in the cinemas. The whoever directed that, he had the lyrics coming up on the screen, and that brought to me what she was singing about, because she was always singing about a failed relationship with that guy that she was with, I can't even remember his name now. But he wasn't really in love with her. He just was into he wanted all the fame and fortune that came with it, but he didn't have the talent. He was just hanging on to her. But she absolutely doted on him, and that's what she was singing about. But I didn't know that until I saw her documentary and the lyrics were there on the screen.
No,
It's a good idea.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, that is a very good idea. Yeah, I often think about Pete Doherty.
No, it wasn't Pete
Yeah.
Doherty. Was he called Blair something? He got sent to prison as well, didn't he? I don't know his name. He's irrelevant.
Yeah, he's a no one.
Lyrics on screen. To be honest with you, we kind of need them for every gig. To be honest, I'd like them because you know what I mean. The lyrics are really good and relevant and all the rest of it. But I, even as a songwriter myself and a singer myself, I'm terrible at getting other people's lyrics. I'm terrible at picking lyrics up myself. So unless somebody's actually got them there and say these are the
yeah. So even when I go out and perform, and obviously usually it's Pink Floyd, it's I still have to have the lyrics in front of me, and I think from years of having the lyrics in front of you, a bit like your smartphone that makes you thick, you become so used to having the lyrics in front of you that you forget to memorize them. In my case, I can't say that it's the same for you, but no.
Well, I sat down in 2012, I think. Was it 2012? I sat down in 2012 with the full intention of actually properly learning 100 songs and their lyrics. And by the time I got to about number 50 or 60 or something, I was actually turned around. I could actually write really good songs myself. It's such a brilliant way to.
It's a very good way.
I mean, not imitate, but find out how all of your favorite songs, how do they do what they do, and they're all, there's a kind of formula of knowing the formulas and then breaking it to create interest.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
See, when I used to write songs, I never used to put a bridge in there, but now I understand the importance of having a bridge before you go from the verse to the chorus. It's good to have a bridge. So you pick these things up just by analysing other people's work.
Yes. Or you've got a verse and a chorus, and you're not sure what to do for a middle eight, or just what do you do after the second chorus? That's or even between the first chorus and the second verse. whatever you like, basically. You know what I mean? Whatever comes to mind. There are hard and fast rules, and there's cliche structures, if you like, that work, and then you can mess with them, have fun with them, and especially, being old as I am and having listened to so much music for so many decades, and obviously, gone back and spent a lot of time. We're drawing on it all now, and we can basically regurgitate it or re-synthesize it.
Yeah.
And instead of it being satanic music, it's now for love and peace and truth, I suppose. Truth and freedom. Love, peace, truth, and freedom.
Yeah, that's it. It's all about intent, isn't it? No, that's it. So, Steve, how well has the documentary been received by the general population?
Well, we did a few showings, private showings. One in Spain. Phil, who's the drummer of the band, he run a carnival conference in Spain. We did the first showing there, and then we've done two since in Manchester and in Stockport. And by the end of the film, people were actually cheering because it's a slow. I wouldn't say it's a slow burner because it hits hard from the beginning, and then it goes into the documented tour and interviews with each band member. So you get an insight into what's going on in between the ears of each band member. So you get to know the band members rather than just seeing somebody playing bass or a drummer at the back or a lead guitarist.
Yeah, so it's almost biography.
Yeah, by the end of the documentary, you get to know all the band members. But it really picks up towards the end because it culminates in the first Stand in the Light festival, which Darren and Fifi from Stand in the Park put on in the Lake District last year. And I did quite a bit of extensive filming around that. So it really does. It kind of like it's uplifting at the end. But right at the end as well is where a lot of the storytelling from the last 4 years of the COVID era comes in. And, it really fits in with the music and the lyrics, what Darren's singing. And it also gets to see a lot of people who have been active in the freedom movement doing their activism, because I wanted to try and get as much people in that I know, particularly from our local area, into the film as well. And at the end, people were cheering and clapping. So it was really received well by those guys. What I'm disappointed in is the amount of impact and reach that it's had, but I think that's due to the YouTube algorithms. And I'll give you an example here. So I think we're running on about 3,000 views. So I've not got the biggest YouTube channel. It's called Edge of the Matrix, and I'm just almost hitting 5,000 subscribers. The film's had 3,000 views, and it took me a year to make. Contrast that with a video that I put out just a week or two ago. It took me 1 hour to film and 1 hour to put together, and it was of the floods in Stockport, and that's had over 40,000 views. So I really wish this documentary had an impact like that. It hasn't yet, but that's one of the reasons me and Darren and I are trying to promote it now.
That's right.
Get people. And do you know what? I'm not precious about having it on my YouTube channel. So if anybody here who's got a YouTube channel and they want to download the film and re-upload the film, you've got my permission to do that. I'm not going to be going, copyright, get it taken down. It's not about my channel. It's all about getting that information out to as wider audience as we can. You can do it on your channel if you wish, Chris.
Well, that's very kind of you, and I'm more than happy to do so, but I would much rather see your channel grow. And so if we can get people over to your channel to watch it, I think that's the right thing to do. Definitely the right thing to do. So yeah, we will definitely share your link to your YouTube channel because I'd like to see it grow as well. I think that's really important.
Yeah, it's growing slowly.
No, that's good. What is your main takeaway that you want people to get from this documentary?
Daz? Is that for me or Daz?
That's from whoever wants to jump in.
Well, there's a couple of things, really. I want it to be a kind of like a documented piece of history for the last for the whole of the COVID era, really. That's number one. Number two, you've got a great rock and roll band with great lyrics there. You've got the light paper there. This is two things that Daz has done, to actually promote what people in the freedom movement is doing and the truth and what's really happening in the world. And I suppose another thing is, like you said, you and Darren said before, everybody's got a niche within the freedom movement. And if you'd have said to me 4 years ago, you'd have made a documentary film, I'd have just laughed at you and said, that's really beyond my capabilities. But just out of pure love of taking photons and putting them together in a story, I've made this documentary. It might not be, Shane Meadows or Stanley Kubrick, quality, but I don't think that matters. I suppose the point is, if you enjoy something, pursue it and don't give a shit what people think, and just go out there and do it and enjoy yourself. You're capable of, producing decent work.
No, 100%. And how about you, Daz? What would you like to see from this documentary?
I just want to let's follow on from what Steve was saying. Look, at the end of the day, we need political power, as it were, not political parties, but political power, as in, we move and the government shits itself, and you're not going to have political power until we have economic power. The idea that we can fight a war or what have you, obviously just an information war. Living on the enemy's handouts is a bit silly. Imagine if every single person that was awake had £10,000 in the bank, and you say, okay, right, let's have a massive campaign and put £500 in. It's not, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying about. Obviously, the truth movement also attract grifters and people that'll rip you off. So, the whole point is, if UK Column are raising funds for something, it's trustworthy. You're not going to run away with it. If the light paper are doing something or what have you, you know what I mean? We've always, whatever we said we were going to do, we've done. We did the big billboards on the M6 against Cashler, against the CBDC. That was 2023's project. So yeah, what do I want people to take away from the film? That the fight is very much on. That there are lots of people just like us. Here's a few people. Here's a band and what have you. Some people know us personally, what have you. Here's some people doing their thing and living it. You know what I mean? We're in the movement. We're honest. We're for freedom, and we're doing our very best to maintain that and what have you, and bring people together as well. So yeah, this is where we're at. The fight is certainly not over. I'm 100% optimistic and positively confident that these people are not going to win, because they're already smelling a rat, and our job is simply to sow more seeds out there, put two and two together. You get that stick in your world, what about that? Or they just say a catchy tune, whatever it is. You know what I mean? They might happen to come across the algorithm has gone haywire and see Steve's documentary one day. Like, what's that? And they start watching. Listen, we all forget what it's like to be asleep. I still remember in the 1990s, I'm sat watching Channel 4 late, whatever, and this discussion, a little round table discussion program comes on about the moon, about the fake moon landings. I'm like, what's this? And it was brilliant. It was the best piece of television I'd ever seen. I was like, wow, that was amazing. But obviously, because there's nothing to follow it up, just forgot all about it. The millions might be fake. Oh well, let's just get on with our lives. I think that's a lot of people. They have these glitches in the matrix. Our job, and I'll say our job as in everybody involved, if you're in the truth media, you want to get the word out, our job is to help people connect those dots and say, look, fires in California and floods over here and just all of it. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot more people awake and aware now, so take heart. And it's gonna grow massive this year. I really think
absolutely. I think 2025. Yeah, I think 2025 is a very pivotal year for us moving forward. I mean, so many, like you say, so many people are awake now. You only got to have to look on Facebook and you see like these NHS adverts for go and get your booster, go and have your flu jab, and you look at the comments and they're all like, you know, it's I suppose it's a bit like the David Icke. At the very start, he was ridiculed and he was belittled, and it's like, oh, you're bloody crazy, blah 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 blah. Now he's got a huge following because people can see what is happening now. It's you do have to be kind of blind not to see it, don't you? Really, it's so obviously glaring in the face.
Also afraid, demoralized and afraid. So you know, there's a lot of truth people out there that are like that. You know what I mean? The feasting on fear every day. Look, you know, once you know, yeah. Now it's okay. Now it should be a great advantage to you, as long as you're not living your life. Oh God, what am I going to do next? And I'm gonna tell everybody about it on social media. You really always. That's where they want you. You know, they're happy for you to say anything you want to all of your friends who are awake as well.
It's whether or not you're using it to empower
yourself and those around you. You know what I mean? You can't help but, you know, if you really want to help others, make yourself, you know, amazing. You know, make sure there's 10 grand savings in your bank or something, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's a real, you know, you can obviously directly help people, but it also gives you confidence to do the things that you want to go about doing. The best way you can help people, I think, is to be the light, is to shine the light, is to be the best version of yourself and let other people see you do it. Simply and truthfully, not ripping anybody off. So yeah, I'm completely open and honest about who I am and what I do, what I'm about, and it's great. It's great. You don't have to go to work every day and pretend to like the business and like the boss and like this and like that. It's
just be authentic.
So freedom, authenticity. Lovely. That's a great word. That's what you're going to see if you watch the film. That's it. Authenticity.
Yeah. And one of my favorite quotes during the documentary from Darren, he sits down on a park bench and he says, the whole game is waking people up. The whole game is getting information to people that they're simply not getting. And I thought that was brilliant. I've used that a lot in previous YouTube videos that I've made. I've credited Darren with actually saying it's not my words, but that's what the documentary does. And I think it's done in such a way that it doesn't just have to be watched by people from the freedom community or the truth community. It's something that you could sit down with your family, with your friends that might not be awake yet and say, oh, do you want to watch this music documentary? You know, it's really entertaining. You know, it's kind of grassroots. You know, it's not being done by some professional, but, you know, it's really good, entertaining and engaging. And you can do that. And the best comment that I had on the YouTube video was that I've just watched this documentary with my nan that normally watches the BBC, and she absolutely loved it. I think she made a quote. I can't remember what she said, and the guy said, "We are winning. We're waking up the people one nan at a time." And I pinned that to the top of the comments. I love that.
No, that's a quality comment, and it just makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's brilliant. Well, listen, I wish you all and every success with the documentary. I hope it gets millions of views because it deserves millions of views. And with the music, I hope that you go upwards and upwards and upwards and you're able to make a living doing the things that you love to do. I'm going to put this podcast also on my Florida Fancy because we've talked predominantly about music, so I thought that's quite fitting. So it's going to go on LSB and Florida Fancy. So thank you so much for your time today. It's been wonderful speaking to you both.
Thanks so much for having us, Chris. Thanks
very much, Chris. Oh, sorry, Daz, I butted it on you there.
I was done.
Well, right, no worries. I'm just going to say bye to the audience and then we'll have a quick chat after. So for everyone watching, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's been fantastic hearing what they've gone through and the message that they're trying to get across to people. So please do click on the links below, check out Steve's YouTube channel and all the links that there are so you can find out more information, and please do support your fellow truthers because we're doing it for your benefit. Take care, look after yourselves. Bye for now.